Hey there, good evening. Welcome to Connector Dots, Quadrant Two Productivity for Leadership Thursday. I want to wish everybody a happy Pharmacist Month. We'll definitely be doing topics on pharmacy, definitely on our Pharmavation Friday sessions. But today we're going to be covering leadership and a little bit of personal development, talking about productivity. So, do you find that you're always putting out fires, working in a rush, not getting through the things that you thought you would get done in a day, or week, a month? Well, it might be because you're working in what we refer to as Quadrant 1, when you really should be working in Quadrant 2. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned. I'll tell you more about it. We're going to talk about Quadrant 2 planning. And I love this topic because I've learned a lot from Franklin Covey, and my favorite training that he has and his team has created is called the 5 choices. So for time management and productivity, I've really enjoyed that. So welcome to Connector Dots. These are brief, candid insights on healthcare, life, and pharmacy for connectors and pharmovators. I'm your host, Kimber Booth. I'm a strategic pharmacy coach and consultant, and I help pharmacists advance practice by advocating for roles and resources to support pharmacy care, patient care, and having engaging, joyful careers. So today, talking about Franklin Covey, it's important. Many people at the start here of our 4th quarter in 2020, many people are using this day to really get ready for 21. This is our last quarter of the year. It's been a crazy year, I know. And maybe your plans have been totally changed because of everything that's happened. And again, I wish you the best. I hope you and your families are doing well. So as we are getting started, I wanted to talk about this topic because while I do typically do my annual plan at the end of the year, and planning for the calendar year, a lot of people are definitely trying to get a jump start, kind of refresh to what's happening so that we can finish the year strong and make the best of the rest of 2020. So that said, that's why I wanted to cover this topic today. So I'm first going to tell you a little bit about the 5 choices, what they are, what Quadrant 2 really is, and then we'll talk about both weekly and daily Quadrant 2 planning and how you can feel more productive. So the 5 choices for Franklin Covey, which really has been created through their ongoing efforts of training through the years. Years ago, I did have a Franklin Covey hard copy planner. Now, of course, I've pretty much converted to online electronic planners. But what I also liked about the 5 choices course is they actually did have a whole session on how to integrate the 5 choices with tools like Outlook and how we can better utilize that. So I'm not going to cover all pieces of productivity in our short time during these connector dots, but so jumping in, there are 5 choices that they describe as critical to making sure you can achieve extraordinary productivity compared to feeling buried alive. So nobody wants to feel buried alive. So how can we get extraordinary productivity results? The first choice that you need to make is acting on the most important. It's critical that we don't react to the urgent. And when I said before, the fact that you're probably in Quadrant 1 if you always feel like you're reacting to the urgent. So I'll finish telling you about the 5 choices, and then we'll come back a little bit to this topic, this choice 1, and what it really does mean to be in Quadrant 2. Choice 2 is about going for extraordinary and not settling for ordinary. So that comes down to thinking about your roles in life and making sure that you are setting goals and achieving those in all parts of your life. The third choice that we'll revisit later is the importance of scheduling the big rocks and not sorting the little gravel. So we'll talk about that topic. You may remember that visualization of rocks and gravel and water. So we'll come back to that. The fourth topic is to rule your technology, don't let it rule you. And that's why we can have better best practice tips for how we can better use technology to our benefit. And then 5 is fuel your fire, don't burn out. So that choice is definitely about taking care of yourself. So we're really going to focus on number 1 and 3 today to support the Quadrant 2 planning. So choice 1, again, acting on the important. It's important that we discern what is important versus the less important. So we have to think about this in an organized way. So you may be familiar with this visualization. You think of a box, 4 quadrants, where you have, on the bottom, you have urgent to non-urgent, and from bottom to top, you have not a priority to most important priority. And I know since you're looking at me, I'm probably going to screw this up, but in the upper right-hand corner of the quadrant is Quadrant 2. Quadrant 1 is over here. That is going to be your necessity, urgent, where things are urgent and a high priority. So you do have to do them because they're a priority. Quadrant 2 is the box that's going to be your priority, but not urgent. So that's where we want to be, right? Calm, getting things done. That's really the ideal. It's where we have our most productive work. We can achieve and work on our high impact goals. It allows time for creative thinking, planning, and hopefully can prevent the fires. Quadrant 3 and Quadrant 4 are definitely less important, but sometimes they do take up a lot of our time. So your Quadrant 3 things are your distractions, things that are definitely urgent, but they're really not important. And so these are things that are needless interruptions, maybe other people's priorities, but not yours. And Quadrant 4 is definitely things you want to get rid of. This is really the unnecessary, trivial work, gossip, time wasters that you just don't want to be spending your time on. So again, we want to be in Quadrant 2 so you can think about your week that way. Now, when it comes to then making the decision about something that's in front of you to decide what quadrant is this in, you want to kind of pause, clarify, and make a decision. So ask yourself these questions, like, when does this task really need to be done? So is it really urgent or not? Can you schedule it for a later time when it makes more sense? Is there actually maybe another resource or method to get that activity done? So we talk about, people practicing at the top of their license. So maybe this is something you can delegate. Maybe it's something that there is a tool or a technology that can be done. What is the potential impact of this activity on our most important goals? So if it will support our most important goals, then we should consider it more of a priority. And think of all your priorities, which is most important to do now. So that's kind of what Quadrant 2 is, and we can think about that in our daily lives to help us prioritize. Now, the next section that I wanted to cover is the choice 3, which are scheduling the big rocks and don't sort the gravel. So you probably know this imagery, and I'm sorry on these, I'm not usually sharing my screen, but I suppose I could do that at some point to show you images. But you have a glass vase, and if you put in all of gravel, all these small rocks first, you won't be able to fit all the big rocks in. And if you were, though, to put the big rocks in and then put the gravel, and then you can even put water in, because the big rocks go in and the small stuff fits around it. So that's going to be what choice 3 is all about. Scheduling the big rocks. Don't spend your time sorting the gravel, which are the less important activities. They should still be activities that are worth doing, but not your big rocks. So you want to make sure your higher importance items are getting the most attention. And so there are 3 behaviors that are recommended here. First is creating a master task list. Second is to do weekly Quadrant 2 planning. And third is to do daily Quadrant 2 planning. So I've talked on these sessions before about creating a master task list, because I found myself inappropriately using sticky notes, which they do have their place, but I was starting to use them a lot because I was on Zoom and I was, maybe sharing my screen. So I was getting out of the habit of using my OneNote if I needed to jot things down or add to my actual task list. So it's important that you have a central place to use for your task list. I use Microsoft Planner for pretty much all of my work, my business, and my personal stuff, although I do have a shared family to-do list with my husband that we have some of the house to-do list. So you should also, besides this like master task list, hopefully you'll have your personal annual plan, as I like to call it. You know, we make strategic plans for work, for our businesses, but you as a person, it's good to have a personal annual plan to think about things. And maybe that is integrated in your business. Maybe it's separate. It depends on what kind of business or career you have. But you will want to use and refer to your annual plan because your annual plan should be already broken down into annual, quarterly, and monthly priorities that will then help you get to what you should be doing on a weekly basis. We'll definitely talk about those in future sessions, and you can even visit my blog on annual plans to see that and download a template by going to kimberbooth.com/blog. So when it comes to weekly Q2 planning, this is something you should plan to do once a week for 30 minutes to do 3 key things. You want to connect with your roles and goals, and so that's a step I didn't talk in detail a lot today, but it's, you know, what are those important roles in your life? What are those goals? And are there priorities that you need to work on for that this week? You want to schedule those big rocks. And when I mean schedule them, I mean literally block the time on your calendar. And then the third is organize the rest. You want to put those other things that are the little rocks on your schedule, or maybe it's just a task list by due date because maybe you'll get it done during the day. But as much as you can, you want to add things to your calendar so you block the time. Now, when do you do this? I personally like to do it at the end of the day on Fridays. Some people do like to do this on Sundays. The reason I don't like to do it on Sundays is I find that makes me anxious for the whole weekend about what do I have to do for the next week. So if I complete this on my Friday afternoon, then I'm much more relaxed. I know what's coming for the next week. So that's when I like to do it. It's totally up to you. You just want to schedule the time to do it. Now, the questions, of course, you want to ask for those big rocks are, you know, what are the 1 or 2 most important things that I need to get done this week for my various roles, my goals, and from my master task list? So once you have that, you do that on a weekly basis. I literally do have it on my calendar. So on every day at 4:30 actually. So during the week, I have my daily Quadrant 2 planning, and Fridays I do my weekly Quadrant 2 planning. The difference with the daily planning is, of course, you're not planning out the whole week. You're just going to reflect on that day. You want to close out the day. What you're going to do is close out the day. You're going to identify your must-dos for the next day and then organize the rest. So kind of doing the big rocks, but on a daily basis, making sure and revisiting your plans. When it comes to closing out the day, there's 2 recommendations there. And you definitely want to look back and say, you know, did I accomplish what I planned to accomplish today? Look back at your calendar. You probably, of course, completed meetings that you had, but if you scheduled time to do a specific task, like, you know, I don't know, I'm sharing with you, but I had planned to call my, you know, mortgage broker today. And so I had that on there, and luckily I did it. So I got that done. Maybe you had something else on your calendar. So you want to look back and say, you know, did I do what I planned? And of course, if you didn't, you're going to have to maybe roll that over. And the second item is what Franklin Covey refers to as capture the gold. So this is definitely a good practice. Some people refer to this in different ways, but it's definitely, you know, looking for gratitude, giving thanks, showing appreciation, but it's thinking back and kind of asking yourself, you know, what did I learn today? What decisions did I make? What key information did I receive? What key people did I interact with? And what additional actions need to be taken? You can highlight these things in your note and, you know, write down other things that you're appreciative of. You know, we know that showing gratitude and thinking about the positive things in our day can be very beneficial. So Franklin Covey calls it capture the gold, and I think it's good practice that I do try to do. And again, for me, I use my OneNote journal to document this. So I want to invite you, or maybe challenge you, to add Quadrant 2 planning to your calendars. You know, go ahead and put it in there, pick a time every day that you want to do this, you know, and then please leave a note in the chat to say, you know, if you did it, and then maybe if you aren't following this kind of system, maybe share what system you do like to use. So thanks for joining me tonight. I want to invite you to join me for future live Connector Dot sessions. Tomorrow is Pharmavation Friday. We're definitely going to be kicking off Pharmacy Month, and I'm going to be talking about pharmacy innovation. So please go to my website at kimberbooth.com/connect to join my email list so that I can share this information with you, and you'll actually get access to a portal where I have all of these recordings saved in one central location for you. So go be bold, be a connector, advance healthcare and pharmacy practice. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.